Hello and welcome to my channel. Vice Rhino here, Cirrus over there, as
Hello.
always. Well, as usual, we've been, been missing more frequently than normal recently.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, well,
There we go.
now John73 John is in the chat dissing Werther's original, saying they just got an ad for it, and like, does that mean I'm old now? Like, no, Werther's original are the shit. You don't need to be old to enjoy those.
Wait, that just means you're old, Rhino.
I've enjoyed them since I was a kid.
Hey, old soul.
Sure, we'll go with that. Anyway, yeah, he got a flash of us before the countdown today, but I actually knew that was going to happen this time, so I had a silly face on for it instead of it just being a whoopsie daisies.
You knew what you were doing the entire time.
I did, yeah, that was totally on purpose, yeah, absolutely.
My chat is going, Grandpa Rhino.
Grandpa Rhino.
So Rhino was born old? Yes.
Yeah, no,
100%.
I have very much been of the get off my lawn disposition my entire life, so that actually tracks.
You're an old soul.
Yeah. I'm an old man trapped in a young man's body.
Oh boy, the unending is back. I'm going to repeat exactly what I said to your spew of comments when you threw them in my Facebook DMs. The unending, please, go get laid.
Well, I finally blocked Francesco Sinico, whatever his name is. The Twitter troll guy that's just like, he's a complete moron, but he knows enough philosophy terms that he can like kind of sound like he's maybe semi-intelligent, but like everything he says is just nonsense. I considered blocking him a while ago because he's like, he responds to every single one of my posts with just something dumb. And it's just like, okay, I'm tired of seeing you. So I muted him, but then people respond to him when he responds to me, and I see their responses, and they're like, oh, this is another Francesco argument, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you can tell from the replies because they're like very clearly getting frustrated with how stupid this guy is. And then finally I posted a thing about my daughter, and he retweeted that with comments about it. It's like, okay, if you're gonna start commenting about my daughter, I'm going to just block you. Like, that's crossing a line for me, so you're blocked now. So that was fun. Do not cite the deep magic, Rhino. He was there when it was written. I don't know what's going on with the chat overlay thing. I'm trying to highlight the comments, but YouTube seems to have borked it. So I don't know why it's...
So it's just farked.
Yeah. So I can't bring up comments anymore, but Naramdaput's just tipped 333, says the power of cash compels you. Indeed it does. So yeah, we've got got lots of stuff to cover today. Lots of stuff that I cut out today because so the thing about last week was I didn't really find any relevant news items for that week. So like some of them were older things that are just kind of evergreen. And so that's still all stuff that I could cover this week. And it was like, well, I wanted to talk about it last week, so I'm going to cover it this week. And then a bunch of new stuff happened this week that I'm like, but I want to talk about that. So like I had I had like 25 tweets that I had to like cull them down, and I still have too many, but yeah, so we got a lot to go through. And on top of that, this is a thing that happened.
Fucking pronouns!
I did a whole video on that thing.
Yeah, so that's on my soundboard now, so I can just push a button and get that noise.
You just get heel versus babyface.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Lobo got kicked out of a musical. That's not making
kicked out of Beetlejuice.
We're not talking about that on the like. That's not any of the main news items, but like I saw the video and it was hilarious. And
I haven't actually seen the video.
There's no audio with the video. Like, it's just her being escorted out by the ushers, and like flipping them off as they're going. But like apparently the whole time she was like yelling at them, "Do you know who I am?" It's like, yeah, a national embarrassment is who you are.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah. So anyway, given how much stuff we have to do, let's jump straight into some articles. We've got, I don't know why news sites do this, but I'm cropping for the text, not for the title.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, news sites don't line up their title with their text. I don't know why. But
I think it's because the title extends for the entirety of the article, and a lot of times the text will only extend to the end of where the advertisements go.
But this one ends like you can't see it on my screen, but it ends like halfway through where the like advertisements are. So it doesn't even line up with that. It's nonsensical.
It's just there.
It's just there. Anyway, so this is Jim Jordan sent a letter to Fanni Willis's office the day before Trump was supposed to go in for the day before Trump surrendered himself and got his mugshot taken, which he then plastered on T-shirts with the text "Never Surrender" underneath it. It's like, buddy, that's literally the picture from when you surrendered.
Never surrender. Okay, so what happened when you lost the presidency?
What happened?
Did you surrender it to Biden?
What happened when you got that picture taken? You surrendered yourself to the authorities. Like, no, not never surrender. Surrender when it's convenient to you. When
surrender
it's politically
when appropriate.
Surrender when you think it can get you extra donations.
I swear, you would think that if he was such a savvy businessman, as his constituents try to argue he is, he wouldn't need to do any of that pandering for donations. You'd think that.
So. You'd think a billionaire could pay his own legal bills.
Yeah,
like his legal bills have not added up to $1 billion yet. He's supposedly a billionaire.
He should be able to handle it.
Yeah, you'd think. I don't know. Musk is out there promising to pay legal bills for anyone on Twitter who loses their job because of tweets or is discriminated against because of tweets. I doubt he's going to follow through with that, but like one billionaire saying, I'm going to pay for other people's legal bills. This guy's saying, I need your help to pay for mine because I'm just a poor old billionaire. Oh God, what's happening with the...
There was
I
forget which comedian made the joke, but there was somebody who was like, hey, what do you think happens when Bill Gates and Donald Trump have a conversation? Does Bill Gates just look at Donald Trump and go, hey, you know how you've got $2 billion? I've got 13 of those. How does that make you feel?
So, you know Adam Conover from Adam Ruins Everything? So he's got a video on his channel about how there are no ethical billionaires. And I agree with the video. There are no ethical billionaires. The only way to make that much money is off the exploitation of other people's labor. Like it's literally not possible any other way. So I agree with the premise. But what was really funny about that was like he was giving examples of like, and like he was going over moral failings that don't necessarily have anything to do with their money at one point.
Did he say like one person had cheated on their spouse?
Well, that's what I was getting to. Like most of them were things that, yeah, you can see how it's related to them having a lot of money, how that happens. But and like Elon Musk is like the son of an emerald miner or mine owner who exploited slave labor during apartheid in order to make his money, and that's where it came from, and like stuff like that. And then he got to Bill Gates and was like, and Bill Gates cheated on his wife. It's like, okay, you know, Bill Gates, probably the best billionaire there is out there who actually like does a lot of good in the world. Not as much good as he could be doing, but he does a lot of good in the world. That is undeniable. That does not mean that he came by his money ethically. Like, I was alive in the 90s. I remember the jokes about Microsoft just being completely ruthless in dealing with their competition and just monopolizing everything. Like, that doesn't really happen anymore. Like now those jokes would be directed at Google mostly, but like there's an episode of The Simpsons about it where Bill Gates shows up at the Simpsons household to buy Homer out when he has an internet business, and the way he buys him out is by having his goons smash all his stuff. But like, yeah, like there are worse things you could say about that, but I just found it funny that like the worst thing he could think of to say about Bill Gates was like, oh yeah, he cheated on his wife, which is something like, yeah, that's not a good thing. That is an unethical thing, but that's not related to money. There are poor people that cheat on their partners as well.
Yeah. Just talk about like how Microsoft itself overcharges for an operating system that doesn't need to be iterated on. It, like, at a certain point you're just like, oh cool, I guess I have to buy Windows 11 now, and then Windows 12, and then 13. And how much is it going to cost? Too fucking much.
No. The updates are free now, as long as your computer supports it. They are making their money in other ways, like baking ads into the operating system.
Yeah, that's kind of just a little agitating.
It is. Anyway, back to Fanni Willis and Jim Jordan. So Jim Jordan sent letters to a bunch of prosecutors, but Fanni Willis was the one that had the best response. I think the others probably just ignored him. So he sent a letter asking her to turn over all documents related to her prosecution of former President Trump and 18 others on charges related to election interference. And Fanni Willis penned a response. And I'm not going to read too much. Like, this article came from The Hill. The Hill's not really my favorite source for things. Like, they're okay, but I don't know. They give me bad vibes, if that makes sense.
I've never gotten bad vibes from The Hill. I've always just gotten kind of sterile vibes.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just, I think they pack their site too densely with other crap. And that makes me feel like it's one of those, like, sketchy anti-science website blog things that is trying to look like a news site, but is also trying to sell you their supplements or whatever. I don't know. Whatever. I went to this one just for the quotes from the thing. So, 9-page letter from Fanni Willis accuses Jordan of offending constitutional principles with your attempt to interfere with and obstruction of this office's prosecution. So settled constitutional law clearly permits me to ignore your unjustified and illegal intrusion, but I'm responding anyway. So, quote, your attempt to invoke congressional authority to intrude upon and interfere with an active criminal case in Georgia is flagrantly at odds with the Constitution. There is absolutely no support in Congress for purporting to second-guess or somehow supervise an ongoing Georgia criminal investigation and prosecution. That violation of Georgia's sovereignty is offensive and will not stand. Another point in the letter, she said that Jordan's letter was bullying by a member of Congress, and suggested that maybe he should investigate, like, if he's concerned with her office, he should maybe investigate the threats that her office has received as a result of her doing her job. And she told Jordan he has to deal with some basic realities. So, a special purpose grand jury made up of everyday citizens investigated for 10 months and made a recommendation to me. A further reality is that a grand jury of completely different Fulton County citizens found probable cause against the defendants named in the indictment for RICO violations and various other felonies. And here's another reality you must face. Those who wish,
Christ.
I love this one. Those who wish to avoid a felony charges in Fulton County, Georgia, including violations of Georgia RICO law, should not commit felonies in Fulton County, Georgia. I love it. In this jurisdiction, every person is subject to the same law and the same process. So, like, that just flies in the face of this whole, like, the Republicans would be like, oh, there's two systems of justice here. One for Republicans and one for Democrats. And it's like, no.
Like, no, this is just the justice system being consistent.
Yeah, no, there actually are two systems of justice here. If Trump wasn't a former president and white guy with a lot of money and power and influence, he'd be behind bars already, most likely. But he was a former president.
So we get to treat him differently.
So he gets treated differently. But and that's why I actually appreciate Fanni Willis, like, bringing him in for the mugshots and all that stuff. Is like, no, we're treating you the same as we treat everybody else. And it's hilarious because, like, when he gets special treatment,
winning at capitalism doesn't magically make you a better person than everybody else.
Yeah, but, like, Trump gets special treatment in the other courts that he's gone to. Like, this is his first mugshot. He's been arraigned several times, and this is his first mugshot. And like, every time Republicans are like, oh, it's a two-tiered system of justice. And then this time they treat him the same as a common criminal. And they come back with, oh, it's a two-tiered system of justice. No, she's literally treating him the same way she would treat anyone that went through her office. That's not a two-tiered system of justice. That's just how it should be.
That's just kind of how it is.
Yeah. And she says, your letter makes clear that you lack a basic understanding of the law, its practice, and the ethical obligations of attorneys generally and prosecutors specifically. She wrote to a member of Congress whose job it is to write laws.
I mean, let's be honest. We have Lauren Bobo and we have Marjorie Taylor Greene in office.
Oh, the howler monkeys.
The standard for getting into Congress is, can you win a popularity contest?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but then she continued, for a more thorough understanding of Georgia's RICO statute, its application, and similar laws in other states, I encourage you to read RICO state by state. As a non-member of the bar, that's like throwing some shade there, the fact that he's not a lawyer, you can purchase a copy for $249.
This is... Okay, so you know how there was an era of response videos. We still have response videos, yes, but like
that's my whole shtick.
There was an era where response videos would show under the video that you were responding to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you were doing YouTube back then.
I was not, no.
But this is the type of response that I would expect from that era of like, all right, let's just piecemeal every single thing so that you question your existence by the time we're done.
Yeah. Then she says, as it seems you have a personal interest in the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, you should consider directing the U.S. Department of Justice to investigate the racist threats that have come to my staff and me because of this investigation, she said. And she attached 10 examples of the threats.
She put examples of there, so she brought receipts.
Yeah. And she said, I'm providing these examples to give you a window into what has happened to my staff staff and me, as I keep the promise of my oath to the United States and Georgia constitutions and do not allow myself to be bullied by members of Congress, local elected officials, or others who believe Lady Justice should not be blind and that America has different laws for different citizens. So, like, she just, like, bent him over her knee and spanked him. And not in a fun way.
I mean, who knows? Maybe this was all brought in because this is exactly what he wanted. It could be fun for him. Maybe he's into humiliation.
Yeah,
maybe. I'm not going to judge. I'm not kink shaming. I'm kink asking why.
So my next video, not the one that's going up this Friday, but the one I'm working on after that, I'm considering calling it. I'm not sure if YouTube will let me get away with this, but I'm considering calling it the Lord works in the kinkiest ways. Because I didn't mean to do this. You know how authors will talk about how, like, they're writing a book and one of their characters just kind of took on a life of their own and got away from them and did things and said things that they weren't really expecting, even though they're the author?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that kind of happened with me with this video. I was not intending on going as far into God has a BDSM kink and that's why he came down to let himself be whipped like a naughty, naughty boy for your sins. But, like, I spent a good chunk of the video talking about that. So I'm like, if YouTube will let me get away with it, I'm going to title it that.
So one of the last videos I made during the subathon was a response to Frank Turek trying to do his usual weasel stick about how homosexuality is bad because the Bible says so. So he just went on about, like, it damages the soul to be homosexual or some shit. He was like he went on his whole spiel about, like, there's all kinds of things we ought not do, like murder. And I'm like, so I was very tired. It was like 2 a.m. when I did that video. And so I went through the whole shtick and just went very, very loud, obnoxious, and cacophonous with my response. Nothing really intelligible. There was one person in my comment section who was like, I miss the scripted videos. I'm unsubscribing. Just like, well, the videos haven't been scripted in 5 years, and if shouting down Frank Turek is the thing that makes me lose a subscriber, I guess, cool.
Yeah,
we're here.
Yeah. Sorry, did you call Frank Turek a bitch?
Many times.
1-to-1 restore the appearance of the real bitch.
God damn it.
Safety, health, and environmental protection. Simulate real bitch construction. This is a dog sex toy, by the way, just so everybody knows.
I can see that because of the silicone.
Yeah, and the fact that I did not censor this. This is how it was censored on Amazon.
It's a fucking doggy fleshlight.
Yes, That's exactly what it is. I don't know why Amazon recommended this to me, but it did, and I clicked on it, and I was just laughing the whole time.
Remember, Rhino.
I know. I know. It's based on my history, but like, I have searched for dog toys.
This is what you get for looking at furry porn.
I have searched for dog toys. I have searched for sex toys. I have never searched for dog sex toys. But I guess the algorithm just put the two together at some point. It was like, here's a real doll for dogs.
Yeah. Okay.
And
so this is, anytime you call somebody a bitch, this is just going to pop up every time now?
Well, I saw that image and I was like, I have to work this into Twit tweets somehow. I know something will come up that'll be appropriate for me to show that. So there we go.
You did it.
Yeah. Much like this guy.
Fucking pronouns!
So here's the thing. So the way I set that one up, because it's on every single one of my my scenes, I set it up as a multi-action thing. But it doesn't disable it when it's done playing.
It just doesn't loop.
Yeah. So what ended up happening was that every time I opened OBS and like went to another scene, he would just shout at me and I wasn't expecting it most times. So just like, I just click on a scene and they're fucking pronouns. I'm like, what the fuck? Oh God, I got to turn that off.
One of my friends, Alex, made a YouTube poop of that entire breakdown where it's just him just going, all we want is comfy chair. I just wanted comfy chair and fucking pronouns.
Oh God.
My chat, anytime they see heel versus babyface now, just start screaming comfy chair in all caps.
Okay. I am going to get myself some more beer.
Oh, okay. So I have to babysit everybody now. Fair enough.
Grow some energy.
Dr. Tasha says the audio peaks on that every time. It does peak every single time heel versus babyface comes in. Was that a he, she, or a them you just showed? That was a fucking pronouns monorail. Oh shit! I can actually go on a tirade now about unending 666 in my chat, who decided to not only go into the chat and type their dumb shit, but also go into my Facebook DMs and type the same dumb shit. If you're gonna do the whole shtick where you get mad about things leftists say, but the only thing you can do is call leftist mongrels, then I don't know, maybe get a better shtick. Also, welcome back, Rhino.
Hi. Is that person bothering you again?
They've been trying. I've timed them out twice. I refuse to ban them, but I like timing people out because I think that's where just misbehaving children go.
Hello. Where's my thingamajiggy? Okay, my
everything broke.
Oh, we found something.
Wonket.
Oh, yeah. So the whole subscribe to our thing. Yeah, Wonket. Again, not in the top list of places that I would consider credible sources, but I like the way they worded things here. So Idaho to ignore maternal mortality rates until they go away.
Maternally rates.
Something like that. Yeah.
So they're just going to ignore. They're just going to create a problem where infant mortality goes up, and they're never going to solve it.
No. I mean, yes, but it's worse than that, Cirrus. Anyway, let's get into it. So the United States already has the highest maternal mortality rate of any developed nation, and even has a higher rate than many developing nations. Also, like, slightly related, lowest life expectancy of the developed nations.
That's
like,
none of those are good things.
Yeah, no, and also highest per capita expenditure on healthcare of any of the developed nations. So like, y'all spend more on healthcare and have worse outcomes than everybody else.
There's no reason for that.
Yeah, no, there is a reason for that. The reason for that is that you guys treat healthcare as though it's a for-profit business.
Well, Okay, yes. What I'm saying is there's no reason it should be like that. That's probably in a world where I was coming at this more cogent. That's how I would change that.
Fair point. Fair point. Samuel Patre says the beatings will continue until morale improves. Yeah.
Yep.
That's where we're going. So anyway, United States has the highest maternal mortality rate and an even higher rate than many developing nations.
3 times fast.
But one such state is taking a brave stand and saying, not us, and that state is Idaho. Sort of. However, rather than figuring out some solution to maternal care providers fleeing the state in droves, because Idaho is one of the states that is having maternity wards shutting down left and right because doctors are leaving, Idaho has come up with a more unique plan, putting on its horse blinders and pretending everything is fine. So last week, when was this published? This is from July, so like a couple months ago. Where were we? Last week, Idaho decided to just completely eliminate its maternal mortality review committee, which will make it the only state in the nation with no process to review maternal deaths.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I have to intervene here with a nerd thing. Everybody freaked out when Blizzard decided that World of Warcraft was no longer going to publish its subscriber numbers, because they only stopped publishing them when the numbers started looking really bad. This is the same thing, but with people's lives in the balance.
Yes, exactly. So this will be the only state in the nation with no process to review maternal deaths, and that's kind of an important thing to do if you want to prevent maternal deaths.
Yeah, you need to recognize there's a problem there first. I mean, granted, I guess it's basically a red flag to anybody who wants to investigate that problem. 49 states have data on this. What's going on with that 50th state? They must be doing awfully well.
Yeah. So Idaho Medical Association CEO Susie Keller said, I think it's only fair that it prove its worth. In this case, we absolutely think it has proven it in this case being the Maternal Mortality Review Committee. We absolutely think it has proven its worth in showing that we do have a problem with increasing maternal deaths in the state of Idaho. The committee has also provided some solid recommendations for us to implement and make sure we don't have women needlessly dying. Seems reasonable. The committee determined that all but one of the maternal deaths from 2018 to 2021 were in fact preventable.
What? That's a horrible ratio. What?
It is. That's terrible. And it had issues. It had issued recommendations for preventing similar deaths in the future. That's a good thing. But the Idaho Freedom Foundation, which appears to be a ragtag group of potato-munching sociopaths, celebrated this decision, claiming that the group was a waste of taxpayer money. I love that line. Like, I teased Cyrus with this one a little bit. I was like, I was excited about the Jim Jordan thing, is like Fanni Willis beating up Congress people verbally is just amazing. So I let the cat out of the bag with that one. But for this one, I'm like, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but one of the news articles involves the sentence, ragtag group of potato-munching sociopaths.
And I'm just going to say this sounds like your average Final Fantasy story or your average D&D group.
Yeah. I don't know about the sociopath part, but that's...
Most D&D groups are, in fact, sociopathic murder hobos.
Sure, but I'm thinking, okay, I don't have extensive experience with the Final Fantasy franchise. I mostly know 7, so it's a guy who owned a bar.
Yeah.
Who then took on the world government.
And that was only that wasn't even the main character.
Well, he was the guy who started the group that the main character joined and then kind of took over from him.
And Cloud's entire backstory was fabricated.
Yeah, that's right. He was just a loser who couldn't even.
Yeah, he was just like
he was just he was a random grunt.
I did. Who's Zach?
Oh yeah, hashtag spoilers for a game that came out in 1996.
Yeah. Cloud's story is Zach's story.
Yeah, no, I never finished playing. What is it, Crisis Core? The one where you're Zach. I never finished playing that one because it was just too I see how they ended up getting the Final Fantasy remake. They just kind of copied Crisis Core as far as layout and how the mechanics were concerned, because it's just you're on a path and you can't leave the path.
Yeah.
And that just drove me nuts because, like, I was playing it as a Final Fantasy VII spin-off game. I'm like, I want the whole thing where you can wander around wherever the fuck you want to go. And it's like, no, I'm just stuck on this path the entire time. That's boring.
Yeah.
Anyway, the ragtag group of potato-munching sociopaths celebrated the decision, claiming that the group was a waste of taxpayer money that encouraged government intervention in healthcare, like the kind that says, hey, stop doing this thing that's killing people having babies, or, hey, half of our maternal deaths happen after birth, maybe many of them to mothers who were on Medicaid while pregnant and no longer have access to healthcare, so what if we extend Medicare to prevent them from dying? Also, what if they had someplace to live? You know, that sort of thing.
Jesus Christ. That is scathing.
Yeah, I love the way they worded it. Like I say, not the best place to go for, you know, unbiased factual information, but in this case, I think this particular news item warrants this level of scathingness.
Yeah.
So so this is a statement from the potato munching sociopaths, Idaho Freedom Foundation. The program is the state's maternal mortality review committee. The legislature and Governor Brad Little created the committee in 2019 with the support of the very lefty Idaho Medical Association. At the time, the IMA said that the committee would help identify the causes of preventable deaths in pregnant and postpartum women, but we warned that the program would do little except be used as a vehicle to promote more government intervention in healthcare, and we were right.
But if the government intervention is required to save the lives, then it doesn't matter that you have a de facto problem with government intervention. Sometimes government intervention is good and fine, actually.
Train Freak sent $5, says, I hope you choose to have a good night. Each year after its formation, the committee released reports arguing for more government. In particular, the expansion of Medicaid to include women up to 12 months after the delivery of their babies. Oh no, the horror. And prioritizing subsidized housing for women. That's terrible. Making sure people aren't homeless? Oh no.
No, those homeless people need to stay in their lane. But we have to keep shifting where that lane is, because the lanes keep on getting really inconvenient.
Yeah. The committee also argued for just about every other government intervention, including tougher seatbelt laws, because apparently an unbelted woman was killed in a car accident sometime after her pregnancy. Olivia Williams sent $6.99 saying, if you want an RPG with lots of freedom to explore, I recommend Baldur's Gate 3. I have been considering Baldur's Gate 3. I'm kind of nervous about the new AAA game titles because I find that often the games that everybody's like, oh, that's such a great game, you're gonna love it, it's amazing, it's great.
It's a railroad.
I will play it, and it's like it's not that even. It's like, so for instance, Red Dead Redemption 2.
Mm-hmm.
I got PlayStation 4 in a bundle with Red Dead Redemption 2, and it was very highly recommended to me by the guy at the store. He's like, yeah, you know, you can save the $50 or whatever, but like, or I don't know, it was a little bit more expensive, but he's like, yeah, no, you should get it with Red Dead Redemption 2 because that's such a great game, because you know, and it's an open world that it leaves you free to explore and create your own thing, but like, I don't know, it just didn't jive for me. Like I don't think that one was one that got too complicated. But like there's a lot of games that get very complicated in their whole, like they'll have a crafting system where you have to build things from scratch and like remember these complex things that you need to. I'm like, I'm not going to use all this. I just want to, like, this button is attack, this button is different attack, and these are the buttons to move around. I don't need to be able to do 15 different things. I'm
going to be honest. I'm at the point where I think I actually despise crafting in games that are not like built around it. The Resident Evil 4 remake shoehorned crafting in, and it just takes up inventory spots with pieces of ammo that I. So Blade Runner saying try Horizon Zero Dawn. Yes, I actually have played Horizon Zero Dawn. I actually do like Horizon Zero Dawn, but it does also suffer from the whole everything is too complicated factor. However, I feel like that one is like, yes, it's complicated, but like, you don't need to learn all these different complicated things to get everything. Like, you can get by with just spamming your attack button, or like, you know, attack and dodge. You don't need to set the traps. You don't need to use the
like all these different things. Like, yeah, you might need to use it for the one quest after you first learn the skill.
Mm-hmm.
But like if you forget to do it for the rest of the game, it's fine. And I've gotten pretty far in that, like not like significantly far, because I don't know, I'm not much of a gamer. I don't spend a lot of time in it. And yeah, Train Freak is saying Hollow Knight best game. Yeah, I probably have over 1,000 hours in Hollow Knight.
I've been replaying the N64 version of Command and Conquer because that's a clunky mess. It's a clunky mess, but I love it.
Someone earlier in the chat said something about N64 revolutionizing everything. And like, yeah, it did. But also, like, one of the reasons so many games are a clunky mess on the N64 is because it was literally the first 3D console. So that was the one that the programmers were figuring out how to even work with this.
Yeah, they were... A lot of the inconveniences in games like that were because they didn't realize that this would be like that certain things would be necessary. Like Ocarina of Time is a fantastic game.
Mm-hmm.
It is slow as fucking molasses. Every time you talk to somebody, you wish that you could hammer the A button to make the
fucking owl. Oh my god, that owl.
The owl is so. You know what's funny? The owl doesn't bother me in Ocarina of Time because I mostly play the DS remake, where you can speed the text up.
Yeah,
I can speed the text up. So like so many things. The Navi never bothers me as much as Navi bothers everybody else. The owl doesn't bother me as much as he bothers everybody else because the version of the game I'm playing lets me hit the B button and skip the text.
So my partner's notification when she texts me is actually Navi going, "Hey!"
Yeah.
And it's hilarious because occasionally, like, it'll go off in a situation where it's like the room is supposed to be quiet or whatever, and then you just hear my phone go, "Hey!" And everybody turns to, like, it's happened in the doctor's office while they're like talking to my daughter about a serious thing with regards to her health and stuff, and then my phone just goes, "Hey!" And everybody just kind of looks at me like, what was that? It's great. Anyway, seatbelts. Who created this review committee? Ralph Nader? Except the thing is, the committee did not actually recommend tougher seatbelt laws. They merely suggested that public health should promote and provide education on proper seatbelt use, including during pregnancy. Because, you know, when you got that big belly thing going on, seatbelts don't sit on you the same.
Yeah.
And it's important to learn how to do it up properly because seatbelts save lives. It's kind of a fact. And that pregnant people should be told how important it is for them to wear a seatbelt. So it's bad if a fetus dies in an abortion, but it's A-okay if it dies in an unnecessarily fatal car accident. And they say, I understand and respect that many people consider it their right as an American to die from a preventable accident without the government getting in their business about it. They don't want the government telling their barber surgeons which kind of leeches they're allowed to use. And frankly, I say we let them have that choice. But surely there are many pregnant people within the state of Idaho who would really like to survive their pregnancies and might appreciate the advice for that this committee imparts. And isn't that part of freedom too?
I see what you mean by factual, accurate reporting not being the focus here, but just the rhetoric it's perfect.
It's brilliant. I love the way this article was written.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, and now we figure out how to get my third article to show, because this was not the one that I was supposed to do next. It was supposed to... there we go. Just got to do it manually. Supposed to be Tommy Tuberville. I know it's pronounced Tuberville, but I like Tuberville better because it makes him sound like he's a potato farmer. He's a potato munching sociopath.
He is a potato munching sociopath.
Tommy Tuberville.
Jesus.
He says the Navy is so woke because people are doing poems on aircraft carriers. So I'm just going to play the video. There might be an echo. I don't think there will be an echo, but there might be. So sorry if
we'll find out.
Ooh, wait, no, gotta.
There's no second place in war, okay? We have to have the best. And right now, we are so woke in the military, we're losing recruits right and left. Secretary Del Toro over the Navy, he needs to get to building ships. He needs to get to recruiting and he needs to get wokeness out of our Navy. We've got people doing poems on aircraft carriers over the loudspeaker. It is absolutely insane of the direction that we're headed in our military, and we're headed downhill, not uphill.
Could we?
So
There's no second place.
So for context here, if you're not familiar, Tommy Tuberville is the guy who is the single senator who is at the moment holding up over 300 military promotions just because he's throwing a hissy fit about wokeness. Now, first up, the poems over the loudspeaker. Oh no, heaven forbid, as a form of recreation or like as a morale boosting thing or whatever, they decide to read a poem to the people on an aircraft carrier. Oh,
dude, there's
no.
so many pictures of World War II soldiers in drag having to go like man cannons and shit because they got attacked in the middle of like performances.
Yeah.
The military's always done this shit.
Yeah.
People need to find ways to entertain themselves.
Are you familiar with the poem In Flanders Fields?
Not by name, no.
So it's very big in Canada and the UK. It was by a Canadian armed forces member who he was I think he was a doctor who, when he signed up, he actually specifically requested not to be part of a military unit. He wanted to be part of a fighting unit, so he would be their medic / gunner or whatever, because like he's like totally gung-ho for the military. I don't agree with that level of like devotion to killing other people for your country, because I'm kind of a pacifist, if truth be told. But like he wrote a poem called In Flanders Fields, which is the reason why Canada and the UK and probably a bunch of other UK related countries like Australia, probably, I don't know if they do it, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did. But it's the reason we wear poppies around Remembrance Day, which is I think that's Veterans Day in the States, November 11th. It's the reason we wear poppies around there, because it's in Flanders Fields where the poppies grow between the crosses row on row. And it's about like he wrote this poem in remembrance of a friend of his who died in battle, and he noticed what like he noticed that the where the soldiers had been buried, poppies grew up there really quick, and so he wrote this poem about it. And it's a beautiful poem. And he wrote it while sitting in the back of an ambulance. It's like poetry has been part of what soldiers do to deal with the stress of war for as long as war has been a thing.
It's also, so I'm looking up some of the numbers. Tuberville's also wrong about the military recruitment numbers. So the amount of like active duty United States forces, we've been at a pretty steady amount since there's a spike between 2000 and 2002. Gee, wonder why. Then after that spike, there's not a huge variance year by year in active duty levels from 1996 all the way to 2023. We had a more active military between 74 and 96, but then after that severe drop in the 90s, we've basically maintained.
Okay.
So we're not even. Well, he's just wrong about.
He's just throwing a hissy fit. Okay. Anyway, the Savage Cobra, the cursorial angiosperm, love it. Says which branch controls appropriations again? I assume that's which branch of government controls that. That would be Congress, wouldn't it? I'm not sure. I don't know.
I'm not 100% certain.
I didn't take an American civics course, but what I do know is that this guy is personally, like, the way military promotions work is they do have to go through the Senate. However, for some reason, there's this weird thing where like it has to be unanimous. So like one senator can hold up the whole damn thing. But like normally what they would do is they would just bundle all the promotions into one thing and be like, does everybody agree to this? Everybody says, yep. And then it passes and all those people get promoted. So what he's doing is he's holding it. And so what Congress could do is they could now go through each individual promotion and set a vote on that. And it could just pass with a simple majority. And then that person would be promoted. They could do that. However, the amount of time it would take to do that would be like if they worked around the clock every day, it would take him something like 6 months to get through all the promotions that this guy is holding up. So it'd be a massive waste of time. Time and resources.
He's ruining everybody else's time.
So he's throwing a snit over that. But it's worse than that, because like what's happening is like these are promotions that need to happen. Like a lot of them are like high ranking positions. So it's like a general retires. This general is in charge of doing certain things in the military. So whoever is taking their place needs to be promoted to that level to do the thing. And so if they don't get promoted, what's happening is it's a field promotion, so they're acting general such and such until the promotion's official. And if they're acting general such and such, I might be wrong on this, but my understanding is the pay does not increase until it's official. So they're seeing it as like, I'm now doing a harder job, a more higher up job for no extra pay. So like there's now a problem where some of the people in these positions where they're getting more responsibility for the same amount of pay are now also resigning. And so other people are needing to be promoted into that. So like it's actually compromising how the efficiency of the military. So he is literally compromising national security because he's worried about wokeness.
Welcome to America, everybody.
Like, honestly, fucking throw him in with the people being indicted for seditious conspiracy. Like,
because it's basically what he's doing at that point.
He's doing all of America's enemies a favor by compromising the military, the entire military, because he doesn't like poems on aircraft carriers.
It's a childish thing to get angry about as well. Also, should be noted, Tales of Atonement in my chat pointed out that disdain for the arts is actually point number 11 on the 14 points of fascism.
Oh,
from Umberto Eco.
What do you know?
Just weird that just strange.
Actually, that is kind of strange, because there's a weirdly large number of Twitter accounts that are like people that have like Roman busts as their profile picture, who are like all about appreciation of classical arts. But of course, by classical, they mean any art made by white people. It's kind of weird.
It is,
very weird. Those are the ones who post the pictures of that beautiful sculpture of the woman who is like wearing nothing but like this sheer thing or whatever.
Sculpture?
Yeah, the Chinese sculpture. And they're like, oh, you'll never see a woman put this level of dedication into sculpting the beautiful female form. Meanwhile, it was sculpted by a woman. It's those kind of people. Fimbolvinter 19 says Betty couldn't even define woke. Woke is whatever conservatives don't like. It's the same as Marxist and communist and socialist.
They don't like anything.
It's the woke Marxist communist socialist agenda.
Rhino, what's a Lenin?
Type of car?
Okay, cool. He's right wing, everybody.
I drive a Ford Lenin. That does sound like it could be a car, though, doesn't it?
It sounds like it could be a car. It could be. Jesus Christ. It's...
A Lenin is a guy who went to his death saying, don't let that Stalin guy take over when I'm done. But, when he was alive, he wasn't, like... He wasn't above using Stalin to accomplish his ends, but like on his deathbed, he's like, maybe don't let him take over. He's kind of corrupt.
He's kind of fooked. He's going to start a couple of genocides.
He's kind of power mad, and he likes killing people. Like he's the guy that said we should kill Anastasia.
Yeah.
Like literally, Stalin was the guy that said to kill the royal family and their kids.
Taproot in my chat says that Tuberville started doing this because the military is paying for transport.
Oh, yes. Okay, yeah. No, I'm sorry. I don't know how I avoided mentioning this far into it. But yes, this whole thing started because the military pays for its service members that are pregnant to travel for abortions. Like they will go travel somewhere. So like when you join the military, you don't control where you're stationed.
Yep.
So if they send you to Texas, you're in Texas. If you get pregnant while in Texas, it's in the best interest of the military for you to not be pregnant. Like, really. they don't want you to be pregnant because that's going to interfere with your duties. So like, military is perfectly fine
to have you get an abortion.
Yeah, military would prefer that you get an abortion, really, but like, it's your choice. And so if you choose to get an abortion, the way it should be, and the way that it is, and that Tommy here is against, is that if you travel somewhere where abortion is legal, the military will cover your travel expenses. Now, easy solution to this, reinstate Roe versus Wade so that they can't just restrict abortion and they can get access to abortion without having to travel for it. Boom, problem solved.
But it's impossible as of right now to reinstate Roe v. Wade because that would require the Supreme Court to reevaluate their decision. And as they're currently set up, that's not going to fucking happen. Like,
there was a whole episode of MASH where Major Houlihan was worried that she was pregnant. And she was married at the time, and everybody was like, when she told Hawkeye, he was like, "Oh, congratulations, that's so great." And she's like, "No, shut up, it's not great. That will ruin my career." And like, that was the whole premise of the episode.
Yep. And MASH was a very progressive show for its time.
Yeah, like it's some of its humor is like it's definitely like, did you have to? But it's from the 70s, so like you got to cut it some slack. And like there's a lot of sexual harassment of the nurses in that show. But yeah, again, it was from the 70s and it was depicting life in the 50s. So some of that is forgivable. But yeah, no, this whole thing is like him just throwing a snit about the military reimbursing people for traveling for healthcare.
Because he doesn't consider abortion healthcare.
No, but
either he doesn't consider it, or enough of his constituents don't consider it that he has to operate that way, which is arguably just as bad.
So he's literally compromising national security because he doesn't think women should get health care.
Yep.
Okay. Anyway, that's the news. On to some tweets.
We get to make fun of people now.
You better hope I disabled the pronouns guy, because otherwise he's just going to pop up when I hit this button. Okay, good.
You did it.
I did
God
it.
Damn it.
I remember to push the button.
Why do we have to start with fucking Candace?
I mean, we can start with pronouns guy if you want.
That doesn't make it any better.
Pronouns!
It peaks every time you do that. It's hilarious.
I know. Well, he peaked. What can I say? That was his peak.
It's so weird. I used to be a fan of his channel. So are you familiar?
No, I had no idea who he was until I saw the fucking pronouns video.
So that's heel versus babyface. His channel used to be just World of Warcraft news.
Okay.
I like World of Warcraft
until there were pronouns in it.
And oh, dude, it's hilarious. So World of Warcraft doesn't have you select a character gender anymore. You select body type 1 or body type 2. It's something that even people in my chat, because I've been doing a community thing where we all play World of Warcraft hardcore, which is you have the one life, you die, and then you reset if you die. Mm-hmm. So we've all been playing that. So people have been remaking their characters repeatedly, and half of them didn't even realize that they were selecting between body type 1 and 2. It didn't even occur to them that they weren't selecting male or female anymore in the latest update. So I'm just like, I can't wait to see heel versus babyface freak out about that, because I used to watch his content for WoW News and just updates on, or like his opinions on the game, because I cared. But now like this shit's happening, and it's, well, I stopped watching him years ago, not because of anything he did, but because my watching habits changed. And now that I've seen that, I'm just like, kind of want to go through your content now just to peel for content for me.
So Jess is in the chat saying, did you see my tweet / the footage about Hobo Bobo getting thrown out of the theater? Yeah, well, I saw the footage. Cirrus is aware of the story. Yep. We're not covering that today, but we did talk about it earlier. So if you want to go back to the beginning of the stream when we're done, maybe. Oh yeah. Speaking of, okay, the complete tangent, but I talked about this on my stream yesterday with my partner. YouTube is pushing really, really hard for me to let them automatically insert ads while we're live. I do not trust them to do that responsibly. However, given the recent decisions taking away choices of creators for what kind of ads show up before the videos, I anticipate that sometime in the future they're just going to start doing it. So if you ever start seeing an ad, like I had a nearly 2 hour live, no, it was over 2 hours, 2 hour live stream with my partner that it had over 42 ads in it. And the time to ad, it worked out to one ad every 3 minutes. So if you start seeing that shit on this channel, just know that that's not me doing it. I purposely tell you to, like, they are pushing hard for me to let them do it automatically, but I'm like, no, I'm going to do it manually, and then I don't do it because I don't want to run an ad while we're live. Like, I'm okay with them showing up when in the rewatch or whatever, but like part of the fun of being live is that I can interact with you guys
there with
like,
the audience.
Yeah, I can interact with you guys while you are watching us do the stuff live. So if you're like 5 minutes behind because you watch 3 or 4 ads, that kind of ruins the point.
Twitch recently started doing something similar as well. You used to be able to have you'd have a pre-roll ad, like when you started the stream, and then anybody who entered your stream would see an ad, and then they'd be in the stream, and that would be it. Now they're having it to where, well, you can have a 30-second ad every 20 minutes. You can have it every 30 minutes. You could have a 1-30-second ad every 1 minute. Like you can set those numbers,
okay,
but you can't tell it 0.
So, okay, you should be able to tell it 0, but like I would appreciate it if YouTube would implement that sort of control, because like I manually place the ads in most of my scripted videos, and like the only reason I wouldn't is because I forgot. But like when I forget, YouTube will often like just cram as many ads as it possibly can in there. But like if there was a control where I could say like every 7 minutes play 1 ad, but like you select where there's some silence where you think an ad could go automatically, I'd be okay with that. I would just let it do it automatically because that would make my life a little bit easier. But because I just let it do it automatically, like if you let it do it automatically, like some videos you get 1 ad for the whole video, and it's like, no, I want more than that. But then other videos, you get like 15 ads for a 30-minute video. I mean, like, that's excessive.
Yeah.
Like, I usually cap out at about 4, unless my video is like super duper long, in which case I might go to 5.
I've started just putting the place ads automatically and hoping that it's functional.
Because it saves a lot of time. It's actually quite time consuming to find good places to put ads and putting them in manually. Like I would much rather YouTube have a good tool to do it automatically, but unfortunately when you let it do it automatically, sometimes you end up with just like ads every 10 seconds.
I've said a few times on videos I'm okay with people using ad blockers on my channel. It doesn't bother me. I maintain that.
YouTube Premium is the thing, just saying. I know that's not reasonable for everybody because like
some people don't have that money.
Well, some people don't have the money. Some people, like, the main benefit to YouTube Premium that they kind of push is that you get YouTube Music, which is like YouTube's version of Spotify, but like most people use Spotify.
I use YouTube Music.
Yeah, I use YouTube Music too. But I mean, YouTube Premium is a tax deduction for me, so like it's no skin off my back.
Fair.
But like, yeah, no, I couldn't go back to ads. Anyway, we got Candace Owens on the screens. We got to deal with her at some point. She says, I refuse to be around people who frequently sleep in. Loser mentality is contagious. Winner mentality, also contagious. I remember sitting down with Jocko Willink and wanting to catch what he had. One of many reasons I now get up pre-dawn and work out. So I picked this one specifically with my partner in mind because she loves her sleep.
Loser mentality, TBH.
Well, that's the thing, that because my partner's great and she works really hard when she's awake, but she also loves her sleep. But she's like, her kids will wake up at 5 in the morning, so like she often is up pre-dawn with them, or like we'll take turns. Sometimes I'll be up with them, depending on what we have going on the day for that day. Yeah, my partner is in the chat saying, oh, you know who Candace Owens is. I'm impressed.
Oh dear.
Because when she subbed for you the one week, she didn't know who anyone was. It's like, do you know who Lauren Boebert is? No. Do you know who Marjorie Taylor Greene is? No. Do you know who Sidney Powell is? No. But she knows Candace Owens, apparently.
That That speaks more ill of Candace than anything, though. If you are, because here's the thing, I don't think it's because Candace is famous. I think it's because she's infamous.
Yep, guaranteed. Yeah, but like, no, I just picked this because like my partner's not a loser. She's in school full time. She is a parent.
Wait a minute. There's a thing that there's a disdain for a class of people that's bleeding out of this that I just realized. So most people who work overnights are people who work blue collar jobs. Like most of your overnight are blue collar and retail and stuff like that. Auditors, hotel management. That's all of those jobs. This is just spitting in the face of everybody who works one of those jobs at all. They are all losers to Candace Owens.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's the thing though, is like she doesn't work an overnight job. But like her kids will often like cause her to lose sleep. So like when the kids go to school, she'll like lie down and take a nap for a couple hours. And honestly, I'm kind of jealous. I don't really do naps. Just because I just can't. Like there have been like I've napped maybe twice since we started dating. And like both times she was like, what? You napped? Like I got home and you were like napping. And I was like, that never happens. He must be really tired. So we need to be like really quiet. But like she loves her naps, but like, and once she's full up on sleep, she's the hardest working person you've ever met. Actually, even when she's dead tired, she's still fucking hard working. Cause like when you got kids, you can't not be.
Yeah.
But yeah, so all this to say, like, what time you get up does not determine whether you're a loser or a winner. It's what you do with the time while you're awake that matters.
Yep.
All right, next up, this one was fun. So Punished Uncle Cheeky said, Russia's currency is in free fall. Shit, really? Where? With the currency of US dollars to rubles. So like the US dollar is going up in value compared to the ruble. So this is literally showing the Russian currency in free fall.
All they see is line go up.
Well, okay, so in their defense, they did respond to this later with like, I was actually super high when I posted that. I recognize that it's backwards now. Sorry. So like in their defense, they did issue a correction later, and you know they weren't exactly in their best mental state when they posted this, but it was still funny.
And don't do Twitter when high.
I mean, kudos to them for recognizing that they made a mistake and owning up to it.
Did they have a real "these edibles ain't shit" moment?
No, that's me. I have a real "these edibles ain't shit" moment, where like I tried, you know, and I did the responsible thing for the first couple times, where you try a little bit, and then you wait, and then you try a little bit more, and then nothing happened for me. So then the next time I did the same thing, but like maybe a little tiny bit more, and then the third time I was like, fuck it, just give me a handful of the things. And a drink. And there we go. And then I was laying in bed like, I'm gonna die. I'm dying. Do I need to go to the hospital? Oh my God, I'm overdosing on weed. I didn't even think that was possible. Nobody overdoses on weed. But like, yeah, no, it was not fun. I did not overdose on weed. I didn't go to the hospital, but like, that's the way it felt. that's my these things ain't shit story. Well, so here's the thing, because I have ADHD, and drugs affect the ADHD brain differently than they affect neurotypical brains. And so I'm like, maybe I just need to like go balls to the wall in order to actually feel something, because I'm like, I'm not feeling anything with this stuff that people said is really strong. So I'm like, okay, I will just do everything now. And
you know,
I didn't have a fun time.
That was not a smart. That was not a smart.
It was not. No.
I got to watch one of those moments recently where I just had this person was just like, wow, I don't remember anything that happened last night. I was like, yeah, those things kicked your ass.
They didn't wipe out my memory. I remember every second of that torturous night.
Oh, well, okay, so that's trauma. Trauma did that. Jesus Christ. What do we have next?
Next, we have the I assume this is a fascist, a self-identified fascist with a username like that.
I mean, Matt Walsh is a self-identified theocratic fascist. So
yeah. So this was in response to someone saying there's two arguments with regards to morality. Argument A is that God says something, therefore it's moral. Therefore, when God commands genocide, it is moral. And then argument B was like, I don't know. It was something. It was similar-ish, but it was different enough. But that's not really relevant to this tweet. So this one is argument A is clearly the correct choice because genocide is a loaded modern term that isn't really relevant. If God commands the death of every person committing X sin, that could be 100,000 deaths. Why is it suddenly more evil if all 100,000 belong to one tribe or country?
Because if all 100,000 belong to one tribe or country, it speaks to a disposition against that tribe or country.
Mm-hmm.
It's the difference between a crime and a hate crime.
Also, like, the genocides of the Bible were like, kill all the babies. Like, what
Happy
sin?
Are they that dash the heads.
What sin were the babies committing that was worthy of the death penalty?
They cried way too many times at the local Walmart.
Okay, fair point.
God damn it. You weren't supposed to agree with that. You're a father.
Yeah, no, I'm a father, so I've been in that situation. So I'm like, no, fuck that kid. That was miserable.
Jesus Christ.
Parents in the chat, back me up on this. You want to murder your kid when they're doing that in Walmart.
They cried on the plane. Don't remind me.
Yeah.
A few of the planes Saki and I had to get on the way back to the proper side of the states, not the Prophet of Zod side of the states. We got to have chicken tenders with Zod though. That was fun. But just a few of the flights, they had screaming kids on them. So I don't know what you want from me.
Yeah, screaming kids on a flight is another situation where feeling like murdering a child is the right thing to do.
I have a verse in Psalms for you.
Yep. I understand why he was happy to dash your infant on the rocks.
No, the thing, like...
Okay, so all joking aside, like, clearly I'm joking out of a point of frustration from being a parent, because every parent has those frustrating moments where it's like, yeah, I wish I wasn't a parent in this moment, but I am. And overall, like, the positives of having children outweigh the negatives, at least for me. If you are a child-free person and you plan on staying that way, this is not me saying, no, you should have kids because you'll really like... No, some people don't like kids. It's fine if you don't want kids. But for me, having kids is totally worth all the negative experiences. But like if you find yourself justifying genocide as part of your religious belief, maybe you should re-examine your religious belief.
Yeah, this is one of those, like, that's making things way worse for you than better.
Yeah.
It's a very simple thing. If I shoot somebody with a gun, it's bad because that person might die. Yeah. But if I shoot somebody with a gun because I don't like the color of their skin, it's worse because of the reason I shot them with the gun. Yes. A person is shot either way, but we make these type of judgments about things all the time.
That's why there's a difference between assault and aggravated assault.
There's why there's a difference between assault and self-defense. Like, there's the intent behind the action is many times just as, or even sometimes more important than the action itself, because it speaks to, will this person commit the action again? Is this something that is going to have to be worried about later on? Are there ripple ramifications from this over and above just the thing that happened? If I shoot somebody in self-defense, the ripple effect isn't really there as long as more people aren't trying to kill me. But if I do it because I had a violent temper streak, there's a chance this is going to happen again, and that's something that now needs to be checked on. Maybe I don't need to be allowed to have a weapon in this scenario ever again because there's a propensity for violence. Like,
yeah,
the reasons why are important.
Sorry, my partner is over here. She just brought me a beer, and she is now singing at me.
Oh,
and fondling her boobs. I might need to take a break for like a minute and a half.
Well, at least we all know how long he lasts.
Rosina Keller says, genocide of mosquitoes, good or bad? Sent a super chat for $10 for that. Depends on the species of mosquito.
Objectively good, all of them.
No, because the majority of mosquitoes do not bite humans and do not spread disease to humans, and some of them are pollinators. A lot of them are pollinators that are like very critical to their environments. Now, the ones that spread malaria, you can wipe those out and the planet will be fine. The ecosystem will be fine. But there's also, it's been a while since I heard about this, but there was a news item a while ago where there was like a genetic modification that they could do to those mosquitoes to make them not carry malaria, or like not be compatible with the malaria parasite. And they they could like genetically
and it could be passed down to further generations.
Yeah, so they could genetically modify the males and then release them into the wild, and then they would like reproduce with the females. And now like you've just basically controlled evolution to a point where you have made malaria impossible to spread through these mosquitoes. I don't know what came of that. Like, obviously, it's not been implemented widely yet. They're still probably studying it because GMOs are demonized for some reason.
Or secondary thing, modify all humans. We all know have sickle cell anemia. Malaria no longer a problem.
No, that doesn't work, because if we all have sickle cell anemia, then the regressive traits that come out with that are not good.
But we're immune to malaria, Rhino.
It's only good if one of your parents has it. If both your parents have it, you're fucked.
You're fucked because they fucked.
That's how mutations work.
Yes.
Welcome to evolution. Anyway.
Oh, wow, this one's tiny.
Heartcore 8. Well, this one came from Threads. And I can make it bigger, but then I have to adjust for other things. I have two threads from this guy. Says, I was assigned as a human male at birth, although I never consented to this. Some cis white men wrote it down on an official certificate and became my reality. But as I grew up, on the inside, I knew I wasn't a white human male. I was a hatching fledged non-binary pelicankin, Pelicanidae linnaeus. Assuming someone's species is wrong, bigoted, and hateful, just like assuming someone's gender is... Fuck it, I don't need to read the rest. It's the fucking attack helicopter joke.
They have one
joke. They have one fucking joke. Like, come on,
They have one scope error. It's not even a joke at this point. We just mention it's a scope error fallacy and walk away.
Can they not, like, are they not capable of understanding the difference between gender identity and species?
No, to them it's all one giant thing. So like for them to understand those differences, they need to take a moment to actually understand why we even categorize things the way we do in the first place.
Yeah.
And they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that extra work. It's way easier to make the joke, honk the clown horn, and then walk off and pretend everybody around them is clapping.
Ooh, Less Than Lucid said, my Opa had malaria for years, but didn't know it because he also drank tonic water. So that's the quinine in tonic water is a treatment for malaria. And fun fact, but quinine actually glows under black light. And not all tonic waters contain quinine, but Canada Dry tonic water does, and that is the brand that they used in was it K-19 the Widowmaker, the sub movie? That was the brand they used in that to make the radioactive water glow.
Huh.
That's random trivia that has absolutely no use to anyone's life, but I know it for some reason.
Jesus.
That was a decent movie. It's been a long time since I've seen it.
I have not seen it, actually.
I don't know. That might be one of the ones that's not a decent movie. No, it's, I think, is that the one with Sean Connery? There's a Russian sub movie with Sean Connery in it. That's like everybody's got a Russian accent except Sean Connery because he's Scottish and he's got his Sean Connery accent.
You know, I have not seen the movie. I have no idea. I've only seen a few things with Sean Connery in them, actually.
Hunt for Red October. No, okay. K-19 the Widowmaker was the one with the radioactive thing. So Hunt for Red October is the one with Sean Connery. I've seen both, and I do get them confused sometimes because it's kind of similar plot point. Mm-hmm. I mean, not really. They're just movies about Soviet subs. They have completely different plots. One defects to the United States. One is just like they had a radioactive disaster on board, but managed to pull through. Oh yeah, K-19 was Harrison Ford.
Fire Sparks is asking, what's a scope error? So a scope error is just a type of category fallacy. It's a category error. Category error is when you present something in one category as if it's part of another category. So in this case,
species and gender.
Species and gender are two different categories. So a scope error is a subset of that. It's when you oversimplify the categories to where they become basically meaningless here, and that's what's happening here as well. Yeah, it's you oversimplify gender and species to where, but they're both social constructs. And so it's a scope error to say that like gender and money are the exact same thing merely because they are social constructs. Yeah. Yes, they are social constructs. That makes them similar, and that means understanding one makes it easier to understand the other, but that does not mean they are the exact same thing. I am not a $5 bill.
Philosophy Tube actually has a really good video on this called like Who is a Woman or something like that. Mm-hmm. Where she talks about how like, you know, even like species itself is a social construct. Like nature doesn't fall into these categories because those categories actually exist. They are just the way that we find it easier to think about these things. And you can imagine a society that thinks about them differently, that categorizes them on a different level or based on different characteristics or whatever. And it's a fascinating video.
Philosophy Tube does a lot of good work.
Yeah,
she really does.
Yeah, she's pretty good. Anyway, next one.
Oh boy, here we are again. Same person.
It says trans kids aren't a thing. They're confused and troubled kids, enabled by sick, twisted adults to mutilate or dissolve a child's genitals and forever take their ability to reproduce is pure evil. Okay. To call it compassion is criminal, blah, blah, blah. Most kids end up regretting. Okay, most kids end up regretting. No, that's absolutely fucking not true. Like
we actually have the data on this.
We have the data on that. It's like gender affirming care has a greater than 99% success rate as far as like people who don't regret it. Like the regret rates are actually so small that they can't even effectively study the differences in why people regret because there's so few of them that actually do.
It's also very telling to me. Like, have you ever noticed, as a weird aside, how often these kinds of people are absolutely obsessed with how fertile children are?
Yeah, like
it's very strange.
Okay, yeah, like nobody is mutilating kids' genital. Like no child is getting their penis chopped off. No little girl is getting a hysterectomy, not as part of gender affirming care. She might as part of cancer treatment.
Yeah, like double mastectomies, we do those on minors when they have early onset breast cancer. That's a thing that we might do because it's a life-saving thing at that point.
A double mastectomy might happen as part of gender affirming care in a minor if they have a history of several years of stable mental health and presenting in the gender that they identify with rather than the one that has breasts.
Or they might have a mutation that causes the breasts to grow to a point where their back becomes severely crippled.
Yeah, but anyway, like the whole mutilating kids' genitals thing, that's a complete red herring because that just doesn't happen and nobody is advocating for that. The reason I chose this is because I actually know a child who is just barely out of the toddler stage, who has a dad who is very much into the gender norms thing. And this child likes sparkly things and pink things and flowery things and bright colors and rainbows and unicorns and things that are typically associated with girls. And as far as we can it's possible that this kid is trans, and when they come out as trans later in life, it'll end up being like, oh yeah, this is one of those stories where they knew from a very young age.
Yeah.
But what I think is happening here is, so the kid at one point has said that like, oh no, I'm a girl now. I want to be a girl now. And I think what's happening there is they're saying, I'm a girl because they want their dad's approval. And they like sparkly, girly, flowery things. And dad says that those things are for girls. So if I'm a girl, then dad will be okay with me liking these things that I already like. It's the fucking anti-trans hardline gender roles. These are for girls, these are for boys, hardliners that are causing little kids to be like, oh no, well, I'm a girl because I want to like,
I
want
these
I want it to
girly
be okay
things,
to like
so why
girly
not?
things, so I must be a girl. Whereas like every trans affirming person, every gender affirming person, every ally, every trans person that I know that I've had this conversation with, maybe I'm wrong, like I'm sure it's not universal, but like every single one has been like, no, you know what? I am a strong ally, I am trans myself, or I am like whatever the case may be. They've all been like, I do not want my child to be trans because that is a hard life, and I would rather that my child have an easy life. But if they are trans, I will fucking accept them for who they are, because why would I not? I'm their parent and I love them.
Axo in my chat did bring up a good point. There's a small problem with the whole no one's cutting up children's genitals thing because intersex kids have their genitals forcibly changed. True,
but they don't
cut
even
them up for
consult the
gender-affirming
child.
care.
They don't consult the child for that. That's usually done in infancy.
Yeah,
the doctor decides which one it looks closer to, and a lot of times
are done that way.
Yeah, I was going to bring up circumcision as well because that is mutilation, but whatever. Razina Keller says double mastectomies are also given to some boys as gender affirming care if they've taken risperidone for a long enough time. I'm not familiar with risperidone. I assume that's something that causes boys to develop female presenting breasts.
If I know there are certain steroids that can also cause that too, so I'm not familiar with risperidone, but I know that like that is a thing that can happen with a handful of medications. Also,
risperidone is a medication to treat schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, or irritability associated with autistic disorder.
Oh, also another fun thing. So the human body, if there is too much testosterone present in it, will actually start converting the testosterone to estrogen. There is a point where that kid might actually just need a vasectomy because they have too much testosterone.
So risperidone is a treatment for bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, other mental disorders, but one of the side effects is enlarged breast. So, yeah, if you got a kid with bipolar disorder where that is treating the bipolar disorder and it's what they need to take because that's something that can help them live a full and productive life and a happy life, but it makes them grow breasts that they don't want. Sure, give them a mastectomy. That's fine.
Yep.
The quartering says the left always tries to gaslight people into thinking they're overreacting. It isn't just the pronouns. Wow, the delay on that's pretty big.
Jesus.
What the fuck? I pressed that button so long ago. Come on.
You said it didn't turn off, so wouldn't you have to hit it twice?
I don't know. Well, no, because
Fucking pronouns!
Well, that's the thing. I set it up to turn it back. I turn it off and then turn it back on. Anyway, whatever. It isn't just the pronouns. Oh, you know what? This might be a hard drive spinning up thing. Because it's on a
Did you not put the heel versus babyface one on the SSD?
No, it's on my it's on my network attached storage drive.
God!
Which is just hard drives.
You know better.
I do know better.
You know
but there
better.
it is.
Oh,
it's got a 10 gig connection.
Yeah. And it's still a physical disc. Oh my god. I say that, but
some of them spin at 7,200 RPM. Those are the fast ones.
Yeah.
But I don't know which disc this one's on. It might be one of the 5,200 ones.
Time to defrag life.
No, I'm not defragging that bloody thing. That I use Unraid, man. Like that. Like Unraid is great, but like if you don't know what you're doing, changing one little thing can just bork your whole setup.
Look, RAID setups are really good for making sure that your data is safe for long periods of time.
Oh, Unraid is not a RAID. It's a parity system. So none of the disks are like fully duplicated. What it does is you have your data drives and then your parity drive. And so like every bit on the drives the parity drive, it like adds up all the bits, and the sum of all those bits in this particular sector will be either a 1 or a 0 or whatever. And so from using that math, it can like, if you lose a disk, it can recreate the data from that disk. But yeah, it's not considered reliable enough to actually rely on for a backup. I consider it sufficient for my work on YouTube, because like it's my server that I use for work.
Yeah.
So like if something crashed, and this has happened where I've lost a drive and I've had to replace that drive and rebuild that drive from parity, and it has saved my ass. But like, I would not trust this to be the sole place where I store like pictures of my kids. And like, yeah, my YouTube channel is important, and often saving the actual project files and whatever from previous videos that I've done, I've been able to like when Answers in Genesis copyright claimed me, I was able to like redo those videos with like a different background and make their video smaller or whatever to get around the copyright bots. And it was made much easier by the fact that I still had all the project files. So yeah, it would be a pain in the butt if I lost all that, but it wouldn't be like career ending. It wouldn't be catastrophic. It would just be annoying.
I'm just going to say I love how...
My partner's in the chat saying, tell us about the pronouns, because she's tired of me talking about technical shit.
But nerd shit's fun.
Nerd shit is fun. I like my nerd shit.
Happy.
I like my nerd shit.
So I like how the quartering literally names the fallacy he's doing for us.
The slippery slope?
We don't even have to do any shit.
It represents cultists screaming, it's no big deal. Also think it's no big deal. Healthy young women mutilate their bodies for affirmation. So why are they so obsessed? Like they constantly will like post pictures of a trans woman before and after she's had like, or no, sorry, a trans man before and after he has had like a mastectomy, and be like, why would such a beautiful young woman do such a thing to
because
her?
they didn't feel comfortable in that body.
Because that beautiful young woman is actually a lovely young man, and like their tits are not there for your enjoyment. They're there for them, and if they didn't enjoy them, they can cut them off because it's their fucking body.
Almost everybody, and I'll say this in the bluntest way possible. The fact that you no longer feel comfortable jacking off to that person does not mean that that person doesn't deserve to do with their body what they want.
Yeah,
that's
your level of jack-offedness. Your level of jack-offedness with someone is in no way meaningful, like a meaningful metric of how successful they are with their life.
Yeah, I feel as though there are people who are going to take issue with like, that's a really mean way to say that, or that's a really like,
no, that's an accurate way to say it.
Like, no, I think that's accurate.
An accurate way to say it is like, you look at Katie Montgomery's Twitter account, she will often like some of the most vitriolic transphobes. If you actually like look at their likes, they will be liking trans porn. So it's like they're liking this thing and then feeling weird about liking this thing, so they lash out. Instead of just being like, hey, it's okay that you like this thing.
Yeah, instead of feeling guilty that you like women who have dicks, and you like a lot of that stuff on Twitter, and we can see that, and you get recommended that stuff because of the porn you watch. Like, as opposed to feeling ashamed about that, just accept it and commission some artists to draw you some stuff, and just be a productive member of society instead of a shrieking bandit.
Yeah, and like, I mean, trans people in porn, that's still a very problematic category because they use slurs and stuff for them, and I feel terrible about this sort of thing. But like, I don't know, if you like a trans woman, you like a trans woman. Like
I'm dating one.
There you go.
Like, jeez. I guess this one hits really close to home to me because I saw this with the person that Saki was with before for survival reasons. I did see his Twitter, and it was literally nothing but reposting trans porn, but he never actually called trans women in any of his posts. He always used, I don't want to use the verbiage here that he used, but you have Pornhub, you can be creative, you know the type of things that are said.
Well, like I've thought about this too. Like, if my partner were the exact same person that she is now, and like was the same wonderful person, looks the same and everything, but she happened to have a penis, I would be fine with that.
Yeah, it doesn't change
Like,
anything.
I like vaginas, but like, she's a good person. I like my partner. Like, what's in between her legs is very superficial. That's not the important thing to me.
You're not dating what's in between her legs. You're
No.
dating what's in between her ears.
Yes.
Anyway, this
Next.
is the time where we have to
Next up.
normally say, "Oh God, damn it, no!"
This one's yours.
This one.
This is the spot where if I didn't get to play it earlier, I would play it now. The
Fucking pronouns!
There it is.
VTuber says there are 100 plus fucking pronouns,
Fucking pronouns!
and more added every time right wingers complain. Like, this is like, and you sent this to me, and I immediately, like, with zero context, I was like, oh, were you like being tongue in cheek, like that whole like, oh, if you're gonna cry for nothing, I'll give you a reason to cry thing, where
Yeah,
it's
that's
like,
the exact
like,
joke.
oh, you're gonna complain about how many pronouns there are? Well, we're adding 5 more every time you say complaint about it. And turns out that was exactly the context.
Axo in my chat, she's like, "Get the Sonic," and I'm like, "No, that's where the joke is stolen from. It's the one where like Sonic's sitting there in the Sonic Adventure pose. Yeah, there's 64 genders, and every time you complain, we add 5 more."
Yeah. You sent me the meme to show me what the context was. Yeah, that's exactly it. So yeah, keep
These people take
complaining,
shit
and we'll
so
keep adding
seriously.
genders. Like,
We're gonna start making them harder and harder to pronounce.
jeez, I don't even fucking like who fucking cares? Like, I feel like at some point society is just gonna abolish gender. Just be like, fuck gender. You like what you like. Who cares what sex that was historically associated with? Because really, that's what gender is. It's what sex this particular thing is historically associated with. So like, that's where like the kids like the pink and sparkly things, but like, and those are typically thought of as female things. But like, why? And that's one of the things. Like my stepkids.
Capitalism.
My
Marketing.
stepkids again will like their dad will sometimes tell them that like, oh well, pink is a girl color, and they will tell me that like, oh, daddy says that pink is a girl color, and I don't tell them because it sometimes is hard being the good parent in a blended family relationship, because like you like as the good parent, I will not say a word against their father in front of them. Like I won't be like, oh, their dad is wrong. But like. They're time like they'll be like, oh well, pink is a girl color. And they're like, well, why is pink a girl color? Well, because it's a girl color. I'm like, well,
That's not a good reason.
What makes it a girl color? It's just a girl color. Like, does it have a vagina that it's a girl color? Does it have
you're doing
like,
the Socratic method on them, and it's working.
Yeah, but I mean, they're like tiny children, so like they like I don't go too deep with it, but like I've also done stuff like I now have a significantly larger number of like shirts that are in colors that are not typically like I have a hot pink a polo shirt that is actually going to make an appearance in a video soon. I have a t-shirt that is technically a pajama shirt, but I've been wearing it out in public. It's a black shirt, but it's got like rainbow text on it that says "Love Wins."
You need to get the pink shirt from Dragon Ball Z that Bulma made Vegeta wear after his first shower on Earth. It just said "Bad Man."
Sure, whatever. But I'm just like no, because like I don't like. A color's a color. You like whatever color you like. And I like when people ask, like when my kids ask me what my favorite color is, I will tell them pink because of that whole pink doesn't actually have a wavelength of light. It's kind of an optical illusion thing. And like, so from a scientific perspective, pink is really
It's a fascinating
neat.
color for
It's
you.
fascinating. I love it. Like how it looks, I don't know. I have no sense of fashion. I don't fucking care. So like, I will wear a pink shirt, whether it looks good or not. I don't know if it looks good because I have no sense of fashion. So I'll just fucking wear it. But like, from a scientific perspective, it's a fascinating color and I love it. So like, I'm going to wear pink and be like, well, I'm a boy. I'm wearing pink. Does that mean, like, what does that mean? Does that mean I'm a girl? No, I'm a boy. I'm telling you I'm a boy. So why is it a boy color or a girl color?
It just is.
It just is, Rhino. It just is.
You
it's just a color. It's just a color. Orange is kind of the same thing. Fun fact, computer monitors cannot produce the color orange. So like you can see there's orange in the tweet. That's not actually orange. That's a shade of brown that looks orange to our brains given the context. And Technology Connections has a really good video on brown and orange. And it's pretty great. And it's kind of the same thing as pink, where like it doesn't actually exist as a wavelength of light, but our brains interpret it that way.
So you're saying that a bit of orange doesn't really exist?
Yes. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yes, absolutely. Hundo P. For those of you who aren't familiar, a bit of orange is a person that I've responded to in the past, and I think you have responded to in the past as well. Yep. It's kind of obnoxious creationist. I think I have a playlist put together for that if you go to my main channel. So yeah, it would be nice if that person didn't exist.
At least the
whatever happened to that? Because I know they were like kind of cozying up with Eric Hovind for a while, but I haven't heard anything about that since then.
So when I started doing my shift and doing a lot more political content and doing more atheism content as the side thing I would do, because like it's still the thing I want to be able to do, I stopped following his channel directly.
Yeah.
He became one of the ones that I just like. I've got ones that I constantly look back at for when I know there's content that I want to do, but his is just one that just it fell off completely from my radar. So
I don't know. I don't know the context of this. Was Neuromptiputz is in my chat explaining the that a guy named Heel versus Babyface went on a rant about pronouns and gender ambiguity in Starfield. So I feel the need to do this again.
Fucking pronouns.
Yeah, I mean that's Heel versus Babyface bitching about Starfield.
Yeah, like really, okay. So if I could just derail our chat for a bit. I know we're running late already, but the whole rant was like, oh, well, I'm sitting down. It's my escapism. I'm trying to escape life for a while. I'm trying to suspend my disbelief and enter this fantasy world to enjoy myself or whatever. And then I'm assaulted by fucking pronouns.
Fucking pronouns.
But it's like, that's the character creation screen. Like you're not in the world yet. This is you getting ready. This is you getting ready to be immersed in the world. And it's you telling the game that when characters interact with me, this is how I prefer to be addressed. And like the whole argument of that video is like, oh, it ruined my immersion when it asked me for my pronouns. But it's like okay, even if you're a gender critical person where you think like, oh, there's only two sexes, male and female, trans people don't exist, and there's only male and female, men and women, he, him, she, her, those are the only pronouns that exist, whatever. Just like take that for granted, like take that as a hypothetical in this situation. If you're a woman playing this game, wouldn't it be more immersive for you if people referred to you as she, her?
Clockwork Cookie pointed out that the guy, didn't he get mad at a clone and that's what started this rant? Yeah, so he did actually get past character creation.
Sure.
He got mad because in the story of the game there's a clone of your character that's gender bent once. In a game that's in like a post Star Travel future where anything's possible, a gender bent clone of your character existed and that made him mad.
Okay, sure, whatever.
That's just
stupid.
It makes it worse.
His whole argument is like in favor of the game asking for your pronouns. It makes the immersion better. Anyway, Sargon of Akkad, Carl Benjamin.
Oh boy.
So, this is actually kind of what I was talking about. It says, it's not really about the pronouns. Pronouns are just a symptom of the pervasive, corrupting force of social justice, continuing to humiliate white men for the crime of being white men. It's everywhere in the real world, and now it's in his escapism, which he paid good money for. Why should he not be angry? This is exactly with regard to the fucking pronouns guy with Starfield.
He has no reason to be angry because this is a tiny problem that doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
So when I did my video on this, I pointed out that it's okay to be angry with actual problems that exist within a game you enjoy. I love Magic the Gathering. I have tons of problems with the game.
Ooh. Blade Runner is asking, wasn't Sargon a lefty? Not that I've ever No.
So Sargon's shtick is he would claim he's a classical liberal, but a classical liberal.
Classical liberal is code for libertarian, which is right wing.
He's never really been a lefty. He's claimed he's classical liberal.
I've been watching, I used to follow him fairly closely when I was a right wing person. He was part of the reason I was right wing was because that was the media that I was consuming, was Sargon's channel was one of them. It's like Sargon and Undoomed and Bearing and all those, and I actually really enjoyed those channels and now I go back to them and how did I watch these and actually think these were intelligent human beings? These guys are clearly just grifting idiots.
Yep. But, God, it's so weird to think of the people that we used to be friends with who are also.
Oh, I was never friends with any of them. I never knew any of them.
No, not them.
I was fans.
No, not them. People that we used to associate with that have spent a lot of time now cozying up to people like Undoomed. They're normal people.
I don't know who's cozied up to. I don't know who you're referring to right now.
Steve McRae.
Oh, he's cozying up to Undoomed?
That was 8 months ago.
Well, I don't know. That guy, I forget that he exists until somebody mentions him to me.
Yep. I know.
So
it happens with me as well.
Yeah, 8 months ago is probably the last time I thought about him.
Mm-hmm.
But don't worry. And that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be.
He'll never think about any of us. He'll just worry about Katie Joy Paulson for the upteenth time.
Yeah, so he's gotten past his whole Jimmy Snow is evil thing.
No, he bitches about Jimmy maybe once every month or so. Almost everything is about Without a Crystal Ball, though. Almost everything.
Okay. Yeah. Well. Anyway. Yeah. This whole humiliating white men for the crime of being white men. It's is asking for your pronouns really trying to humiliate you for being a white man?
Yeah,
society in he lives in the UK. Society is explicitly created to cater to you to your demographic as a white man. So are you really being humiliated for it? I've never been humiliated for being a white man, and I fully recognize that being a white man imparts some privileges on me that other minorities, as if I'm a minority, that minorities don't get. I have privileges that black people don't have, that indigenous people don't have, because I am a white man. I have privileges that women don't have because I'm a white man. I recognize that. I've never once felt guilty for being white. I have, however, tried to be sensitive to the fact that I do have these privileges. I've tried to be aware of the fact that I have these privileges and tried to do what I can to make life better for the people that don't use my privilege to make life better for the people that aren't as privileged as I am.
I've had the unique experience of being one of 3 white kids in the predominantly black neighborhood growing up. So I got to have that what if racism were reversed towards you type of experience growing up, and it still hasn't convinced me that the white man is oppressed in the United States.
No, the white man is not oppressed.
But I had the childhood that said that I should think that, I guess.
Sure. Why not? Why not? S.J. Thomason says, today I read tweets by 2 atheists who say they encountered demons, shadowy abusive features during sleep paralysis. People are often suffocated during sleep paralysis. What should other atheists make of that? Well, I mean, if you're paralyzed and you can't breathe, then yeah, you get suffocated.
Sleep paralysis is a known phenomenon. It's
Yeah, like-
non-magical or demonic. Holy
Like
fucking shit.
it's literally your body paralyzes you while you are asleep so that you don't like roll over into a dangerous situation. But like in the process of waking up, you have not woken up fully. Like you've woken up to the point where you are conscious, but you have not woken up fully to the point where you have regained control of your body.
Yeah, motor function
so you
hasn't
are
happened yet.
you are still paralyzed so that you are safe while sleeping, but you are awake.
Also,
It's just a
people have-
glitch of the brain. That's all it is.
And the sleep paralysis demon is just a known way for people to describe that glitch of the brain.
Well,
It
no,
doesn't
because
mean that there's
that's-
real demons there.
That's the thing is when you have sleep paralysis, like one of the common
You hallucinate.
things about that, not just hallucinate, but you feel like there's something pressing down on your chest, and often that is perceived as a presence of a being that is there sitting on your chest. And it's really kind of fascinating if you read accounts of what is now known to be sleep paralysis throughout the ages. It'll be thing like it always follows the culture. So like when people believe that witches cause sleep paralysis, it's a witch sitting on your chest. When people believe it's aliens that cause it, it's aliens sitting on your chest. When people believe it's demons sitting on your chest.
Each and every
Almost
one
like
of
your
those sounds
culture. Almost like your culture is what determines what you think is sitting on your chest, as opposed to there actually being something sitting on your chest.
And on top of that, just in general, this is coming from the same person that thinks that the best argument for Christianity is that people died for their religion.
No,
That is her favorite argument for
that doesn't surprise
Christianity
me.
being true.
That doesn't surprise me.
I do not expect any kind of cogent logic from a person who has that take. People died for this thing. People don't die for lies ever. I say, living in the United States,
She
where
has
the
a
Vietnam War happened.
She has a PhD and teaches students at a university.
Mhm.
How? I mean, it's in HR, so it's not like she's got a PhD in anything that has any relevance to anything she talks about on Twitter, but like, she's in charge of people's education. That makes me sad.
I feel bad for her students.
This one was funny. So Apologia tweeted, testimony alone is insufficient to establish a miracle. Lying or mistaken will always be more likely absent other corroboration. And then Perpetual Spurgeon said, this is a testimony. It's like,
Yes,
do
it
you-
is.
do you-
And
do you
Paul
think-
isn't saying this is the only thing that matters.
yeah, but like, do you think tweets are miraculous? Because like
It's
testimony is insufficient to establish a miracle. This is a testimony. Okay. But who's claiming it's a miracle?
Rhino, tweets are miraculous. The fact that Twitter still exists
Yeah, okay, fair
this
point.
long into
Fair
bus
point.
coding it,
Fair
tweets
point.
are miraculous.
Well, it's not Twitter anymore. It's X. Anyway,
I-
that's the last one, and we are 20 minutes over time. Like, remember when I said earlier today that I was like, hey, we like never run overtime even when we have too much stuff to cover. It's like
Yeah.
somehow it always works out.
You know what? And then sometimes we get stuck talking about a Candace Owens tweet.
Yeah, well, in reference to Candace Owens, I know you're tired, so go to bed.
God damn it.
Go
Fair enough.
sleep in, Cirrus. Be a lazy loser.
Jeez. Way to hit home.
Oh, fuck, I forgot to disable that. That was an accident.
That one was the accident.
That
Every
one
other
was the
expected.
accident. All of the other ones were on purpose, but that one was the accident. And that's what I experienced
Okay.
while I was trying to set up the stream. Every time I changed things, he just popped up and was like, fucking pronouns!
Every time, huh?
Every single time. It was great.
Jesus Christ. All right.
All right.
well,
Have a good
everybody
night,
in-
Cirrus.
See ya. Everybody in my chat, we're going to go raid action. Hannah raided us, so now we're going to go raid Jake.
Oh, is Jake streaming?
Jake's streaming right now.
Okay.
Hannah finished streaming, raided me, and now I'm just going to send the stream back to Jake.
Okay, my stream can go raid Jake. Okay, Vandalia just sent money and says, it's strange hearing how different you used to be before your deconversion. It makes me wonder if I'm the outlier, because looking back, I don't think I'm too much different from what I was still a Christian and now as an atheist. So here's the thing. I actually, I was fairly right-wing while I was an atheist. like when I started my channel, there's some videos on my channel that are unlisted now that because I'm so embarrassed. If you go back and watch them, it's me like letting my right-wing bias show, and it's not good. I went back and watched them and was like, oh, that's cringe, man. Like, oh, it's not good. So like this was me as an atheist. It was through like it was actually a combination of things. So like I actually one of the things I credit with the God Awful Movies podcast is actually one of the things that I credit with my not falling down the right-wing rabbit hole, because like I'd go watch Bearing and Undoomed and people like that, and they'd be like, oh, lefties don't know how to do humor, they can't be edgy, they can't do edgy humor or whatever. And then I'd go listen to God Awful Movies podcast, and I'd hear Eli Bosnick being like, I want to fuck the corpse of Phyllis Schlafly. Be like, that's edgy humor. They're very clearly lefties, but that's edgy humor. And like they have mellowed out a bit since that. He doesn't make jokes about fucking corpses, at least not of named people anymore. They're still fairly edgy, but like at the same time, it was like that was kind of they're clearly not correct about that. So I wonder what else they're not correct about. And so then as part of my channel is like my job to figure out like go read the scientific studies and actually learn the facts. And through doing that, it turns out that reality has a left-wing bias. Like
I've had people get really mad at me for using that turn of phrase.
Yeah, but it's true though.
And that's fine.
It's true though. Like they can get mad, but it's still true.
Yeah.
Like it's a fact that the left-leaning countries that provide their citizens with healthcare have better healthcare outcomes for their citizens than countries like, say, the United States, which treats healthcare as a for-profit business, which is the right-wing idea. So like reality's got a left-wing bias. Hashtag right. Sorry, not sorry.
Rhino, I have a question.
What's that?
Do you have half a Brian? If not, shit your mouth. Did you see that tweet?
I did not.
I'll send it to you.
Okay. Anyway, that's it for tonight. As always, fuck off.